Rhoda Williams is a high school student and amateur astronomer who has recently been accepted to MIT. After celebrating with friends, she drives home intoxicated. She hears the news on the radio about a planet that has just appeared in the sky. She looks out her car window up to the stars to see the blue spot. Meanwhile, John Burroughs and his pregnant wife and son are in their car at an intersection. Rhoda's car suddenly slams into them, putting John in a coma and killing his pregnant wife and son. Rhoda receives a 4-year prison sentence, but since she is a minor, her identity is kept secret. After 4 years, Rhoda finishes serving his time in prison. More information has been discovered about the new planet. It is a complete copy of Earth, with continents, cities, oceans, and all. It has come much closer over the last 4 years, and is now clearly visible in the sky during the day. Rhoda's family picks her up to live at home. Her brother tells of an essay contest sponsored by millionaire entrepreneur Keith Harding, who is funding a spaceflight to Earth 2, and grants a free ticket to the civilian who has the best motivation to join. Rhoda checks United Space Ventures' website and sees the essay contest. The next day, she decides to look for work. Still traumatized and guilty about the accident that she caused, she doesn't want to talk to people. She accepts a job as a janitor at West Haven High School where work is physical and she doesn't have to do much thinking. She meets the old blind janitor named Pradeep and avoids contact with others as much as possible. After cleaning the school for a while, she returns home one day after work and goes to the intersection where she caused the fatal accident. She sees John Burroughs pulling over, placing one of his son's toys on the curb in memory of his deceased family. Upon arriving home, she searches for John Burroughs on the internet and writes down his address. She goes to his house and sees him drinking while watching TV. Feeling guilty, she tries to take her life by undressing and exposing herself to the cold while looking at Earth 2. She is found before freezing to death and treated for mild frostbite. While recovering, Rhoda enters the essay contest, explaining how as an ex-convict, she is excluded from most privileges. She adds that in the old days of naval exploration, it would often be ex-convicts and outcasts who dared to take the risk of venturing into the unknown and were among the first to set foot on new worlds, so this would make her a likely candidate to be among the first to visit Earth 2. She returns to John's house once more, hoping to apologize for what she did to him. John answers the door and she loses her nerve. Instead, she pretends to be a maid from a company called Maid in Haven, offering a free 1-day trial of cleaning. John agrees to Rhoda's offer. She starts cleaning and sees how miserable John has been living. When she finishes, John, who still does not know she is the person who killed his wife and son, asks her to come back next week. Back at home, Rhoda practices a confession speech for the next time that she meets John Burroughs. She returns to his house, but he immediately puts her to work, not giving her the opportunity to say much. After her cleaning is done, he gives her a check and shows her out. She rips the check apart on her way home. She bought some cleaning supplies and came back to John's house the following week. John sees her assembling the telescope she found in the attic. A television broadcast shows a successful attempt by scientists to send a signal over to Earth 2. The scientist is startled to discover that the woman she is speaking to is her exact copy in every aspect: same name, date, and location of birth, and even the occupation and childhood memories match. Rhoda steps outside to look at the beautiful Earth 2 in the sky. A scientific discussion is instantly sparked by the telecast. According to physicists, Earth 2 is a mirror planet that is a precise duplicate of our own, down to every last individual. Rhoda cleans John's house again. John brings the telescope down and asks her to take a look. They then play a video game. At the end of the day, John gives her a check and offers her a ride home. They discuss their potential copies on Earth 2. John asks what she would say to her copy, and Rhoda responds better luck next time and says that she would probably be speechless. While dropping her off, John realizes that he doesn't know her name, so she tells him it is Rhoda. At work, Pradeep seems to notice how conflicted Rhoda is. He tells her to keep her mind clear to obtain peace of mind. At John's house, John experiences a headache after doing some housework. Rhoda tells him a story of a cosmonaut who is alone in space, plagued by a ticking sound that he cannot stop. In order to maintain his sanity, the cosmonaut decides to listen to the sound as if it were music, obtaining peace of mind. Later, she tells him about the essay contest that she joined, but John is skeptical about the expedition. John sees that Rhoda has washed a sweater, presumably from his deceased wife. He becomes enraged and tells her to leave. At work, Rhoda notices Pradeep is not around. She asks a coworker and learns that he has poured bleach into his ears. On her way home, he sees John waiting outside their house. John says he is looking for her, but nobody at Maiden Haven knows her, and all his checks have gone uncashed. She gives some quick explanations and accepts his apologies for his earlier outburst. He invites her to his university, where he gives her a private concert of a new piece of music that he has been composing. Afterward, they go home, where they finally give in to their feelings and made love. John tells about how he was finally content with his life when a drunk driver killed his wife, son, and unborn daughter. When he woke up from his coma, he was so angry at the perpetrator that he let his brother attend the lawsuits and never learned that person's identity since it was a minor. Rhoda didn't say anything. Rhoda visits the hospital to see Pradeep, who is now deaf and blind, hoping to hear an explanation for what he did. She hugs him and he immediately guesses the reason why she is there, and tells her she knows why he did it. She writes the word forgive in the palm of his hand, making the old man cry. Rhoda comes home and hears from her brother that the people from United Space Ventures have called. She calls back and is answered by Keith Harding, who says that he was moved by her motivation. He sympathizes with her, hinting that he once came close to becoming a convict himself, so the seat on the flight to the other Earth is hers. She goes to John to tell him that she has won the spaceflight and that she will prepare for a training program in the Mojave Desert. John seems enthusiastic at first, but then asks what testament and funeral arrangements he has to make in case she does not survive the flight. Finally, he flat out asks her not to go, since they are so close to something now. She says that she will tell him a story, and if he still wants her to stay afterwards, she'll stay. She tells him about how naive she used to be, and in her recklessness, she caused the accident that killed his wife and son. When she went to him to apologize, she lost her nerve and lied in the hope that she could make his life somewhat better. But now, she fears that she is doing this to make herself come to terms with what she has done. Devastated by this confession, John angrily forces her out of his house. At their home, her parents find out from the news she is the winner of the spaceflight essay. Her parents are upset that she didn't mention this to them and want to know what she plans to do. Later in a telecast, she hears a theory that the citizens of the Mirror Earth were identical to those on our Earth in every way, until the moment that they learned of the other's existence. From that point on, the identical people on the different Earths probably began to deviate in small ways, changing their actions and perhaps the course of their lives. Rhoda returns to John, but he refuses to open the door. She crawls inside through a window and tells John about the theory of broken synchronicity which may have occurred 4 years ago. She tells him that there is a chance that his wife and son might still be alive on Earth 2. She leaves the ticket to Earth 2 behind and left. A few weeks later, Rhoda sees a news program about the spaceflight to Earth 2 that is scheduled in a few days. She sees John giving an interview after he has undergone the spaceflight training in the Mojave Desert. 4 months later, Rhoda is seen walking home happy and contented. When approaching her back door, she is startled by a confusing sight. Her identical copy from the other Earth is standing in front of her. She is dressed stylishly, which suggests that for the past 4 years, her twin has led a much better life than she has, which contrasts sharply what her life has been. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.